Hello, Amityville Memorial High School. Welcome to PGN News. I know you missed us. We come to you today with a PGN special on natural disasters. All in the name of my graduation. Haha, that was a joke. Also, a special shout out to Miss Kilfoyle. So today we start off with tornadoes. Whew. Sorry. Big bad storm outside. Just kidding. Tornadoes are usually the extreme result of a very large thunderstorm called a supercell. During the storm, cold air and warm air combine. The cold air drops as the warm air rises. The warm air eventually twists into a spiral and forms a funnel cloud. The sky turns into a very dark green color and the tornado begins its destruction. Some signs of a tornado are freezing rain, extremely dark skies, and hail. So if you see any of those signs, get to a basement ASAP. The next topic will be on hurricanes and how they form. Do they just form when Mother Nature gets angry? No, they don't, unfortunately. Hurricanes form in tropical regions. They form there because they need the warm water of at least 80 degrees Fahrenheit, high humidity with moist air, light winds, and very warm surface temperatures. Summer and early fall months are perfect for hurricanes to brew up in the oceans around us. Most of the Atlantic hurricanes brew up on the coast of Africa. For that, the Northern Hemisphere hurricane season is considered through the months of June and November. The first sign of a hurricane is a cluster of thunderstorms over tropical oceans. After the cluster of thunderstorms arrive, they will break away and become better organized. It can take anywhere from hours to several days for a thunderstorm to turn into a hurricane. Three things must happen for a hurricane to form, though. A continuous evaporation of condensation cycles must take place, as you can see on the picture. Patterns of winds that are characterized by the converging winds and the difference in air pressure between the surface and high altitude all must be coherent with each other. Warm and moist air from the ocean will begin to rise at rapid rates. As the warm air rises, the water vapor condenses to form dark storm clouds and droplets of rain surfaces. Pressures begin to decrease as the water vapor condenses and releases latent heat into areas where the tropical disturbance is located. Latent heat is just energy that is released during the phase change of water vapor. Not a big deal. This latent heat causes the air to become less dense. The warm air then raises. As it rises, it becomes cooler and expands. That triggers more condensation and releases more latent heat, which allows more air to rise. A chain reaction is now in place. The exchange of heat from the surface, creates a pattern of wind that moves around from the center. So I get that I. Then converging winds, which are winds that are moving in different directions that run into each other, at the surface collide and then push warm air downward and the moist air upward, almost like a tornado. The rising air backs up the air that is already rising from the surface, so then wind speeds of the storm increase. In the meantime, strong winds that are blowing at high speeds and at high altitudes help to remove the hot rising air from the storm's center. But if there are wind shears are wind directions of wind and speed differ. The storm will weaken. If there aren't any wind shears from the storm's air in the upper atmosphere, it will rise to higher and higher pressures. Therefore, the air cycle in hurricanes' growth will get bigger and bigger. There you have your... Oh! Jeez, man, did you feel that? I felt it. It was an earthquake in New York. Whew, who knew we got those? Sorry for the change of clothes and the shave. I had to take a break. But now we're going to go over earthquakes. An earthquake, also known as a quake, tremor, or trembler, is the result of sudden release of energy in the Earth's crust that creates seismic waves. The seismicity, or seismic activity of an area, refers to the frequency, type, and size of earthquakes experienced over a period of time. Earthquakes are measured using observations from the seismometers. The moment magnitude is the most common scale on which earthquakes larger than approximately 5 are reported to the entire globe. The more numerous earthquakes, smaller than magnitude around 5, reported by national seismological observatories, are measured mostly on the local magnitude scale, also referred to as the Richter scale. These two scales are numerically similar over their range of validity, magnitude 3 or lower. Earthquakes are almost imperceptible, and magnitude around 7 or over potentially cause serious damage or over large areas depending on their depth. The largest earthquake in historic times have been magnitude slightly over 9, although there is no limit to the possible magnitude. The most recent large earthquake of magnitude 9.0 or larger was 9.0 magnitude earthquake in Japan in 2011, as of March 2011. And it was the largest Japanese earthquake since record began. Intensity of shaking is measured on the modified Mercalli scale. The shallower an earthquake, the more damage to structures it causes, all else being equal. At the Earth's surface, earthquakes manifest themselves by shaking and sometimes displacement of the ground. When the epicenter of a large earthquake is located offshore, the seabed may be displaced sufficiently to cause a tsunami. Earthquakes can also trigger landslides and occasionally volcanic activity. In the most general sense, the word earthquake, is used to describe any seismic event, whether natural or caused by humans, that generates seismic waves. Earthquakes are caused mostly by rupture of geological faults, but also by other events such as volcanic activity, landslides, mine blasts, and nuclear tests. An earthquake's point of initial rupture is also called the focus or the hypocenter. The epicenter is the point at ground level directly above the hypocenter. Wow, that was a mouthful. But as you can see, there's lots of really interesting information on natural disasters, and I hope that you will go and see some stuff on YouTube or something. This is my project. I hope you learned a lot, and thank you so much for listening. I hope I graduate. Thanks.